Hopefully somebody will chime in. Just gonna see how we do this here. Live chat. Hopefully I can figure this out. Just trying to figure out, again, nobody there. But I'm just trying to figure out where microphone. Trying to figure out where the comments are. I guess maybe the comments just come across as people are doing it. Hey, I see a couple people there. Comment, please. I want to see where the comments are and what you guys want to talk about. I'm just going to wander around. I got the 95 in here right now. Hey, there's a couple guys. Oh, I guess it just comes right on the screen. Hey, Dylan, Thomas, what's going on, guys? I got the 95 in. Still waiting on the insurance to figure out what they got going on. For you guys that haven't, or for you couple guys that are on, this is a truck that somebody tried to steal. I already did put a door handle in it, and I beat the door back trying to fix some of the damage, but the door is, well, it's hard to see, but it's bent out and stuff. But they smashed the windshield, got the ignition. Smashed the ignition out of it. That stuff. Actually, I got the ignition hanging here because I had to start it to bring it inside, get it out of the shop. If you guys have any questions, hit me up down in the comments. Let me know. I'm literally just going to wander around until somebody asks me some questions that I can answer. If you want me to show you something, just let me know. There's the dishwasher. Oh, I call it the dishwasher. It's just a big parts washer. If you guys have never seen one, it's literally just a big parts washer. Here, I'll turn it on, see if I can make a mess of the camera. It's literally just a big hot water dishwasher. So we got the rod shop. I don't really show too much in the rod shop because usually when we're doing Cummins stuff, everything's still in spec or we're using new, so I don't really do much stuff in the rod shop. But rod here for doing push-in bushings or push-in pins, the rod hone. I actually just finished doing these. I was thinking about it afterwards. I should have showed you guys doing that, but I was doing it before I thought of doing the live stream. Like I said, I wanted to play around doing this live stream thing. A few guys asked me about it, and it seems like everybody does it. So I figured if I can't beat them, might as well join them. So this is the shorty for any of you guys that haven't seen. We're supposed to be doing. I'm actually bringing the box in, which is out there. You guys won't be able to see it for the sun, probably. I'm going to be bringing the box in tomorrow, doing a little bit of work on that, so Neil can wants to get do the body work and stuff. Thomas, I don't really do much manual transmission stuff. I've broke lots of them, but I can do some stuff. I do have. I actually do have. If I do miss any of your questions, I'll try to answer them later. But I do have a couple transmissions actually in here that both of them are broken, MV4500s. But I probably should actually go through those and fix them so that I actually have a transmission that's usable. But I got a bunch of stuff on the go, so I don't really have time to do that. But I do some manual transmission stuff, but I find that I break them too often, so I don't want to break. Just hate having to fix stuff after you've already fixed stuff, so that's the reason I've started going to automatic. I've been automatic for quite a long time, but just one of those things. And yeah, this was kind of spur of the moment thing. I didn't have a video ready for today, so I figured I'll just try doing a live. I posted it up in the community page a couple hours ago, but I figured I would just throw one up and do something for you guys. I don't know if I got anything else that I really need to show. I'm literally just wandering around. There's the seat and guide machine. If you guys have watched, you guys have seen the seat and guide machine before, which is what we do valve guides on, cutting the seats, 3-angle valve job, 5-angle valve job. This is, I don't know, they would classify this, I guess, as a Hobbs machine. So it's half manual, half CNC. So it's like, it's smart, but it's not super smart. And then the mill. Imagine most of you guys have probably, if you're on the live right now, you've probably seen all this stuff in the shop. But I probably, at some point here, I probably will do some live stuff, maybe showing on each piece of equipment. If you guys are interested, there again, just let me know what you guys want, because sometimes I don't know what to do. I usually have all kinds of different ideas for what I got going on, but I just don't always know what to do a video on. Sometimes it's kind of, like I said, like this, kind of spur of the moment, right? But so as soon as we get the shorty done, a lot of you guys know that I bought this International. For you guys that are, I bought this basically because I need something a little heavier to tow with versus the single wheels. And trucks are retarded price. So I thought I might as well get, I always wanted one of these, and I found this one in really good shape. So we're going to do a bunch of stuff to this. Now it'll be Hub Pilot that we're working. Sorry, I think I lost connection there for a second. Hub Pilot that we're working with. So something better. So that should be pretty sweet. And I'm not sure, I seen the comment, but on the manual transmission side of things, I will probably do a build at some point with a manual transmission, but it probably is going to be a couple down the line, because it's not something that I'm interested in having myself. So if I'm going to build, I have plans to build some stuff for other, to build, and then I'll probably sell or do a giveaway or something like that. Maybe I'll make one of those manual, because I do have a few manual transmissions that I can put together and sell, put in a truck and get rid of the truck, whatever. But yeah, like I said, I'd never done one of these live things, so I figured I would just kind of monkey around with it. Like I said, I don't really have anything right on the go at the moment. Well, we do have, I shouldn't say that, for YouTube stuff. I got all kinds of stuff in the shop. We got a 305 horse Cummins we're putting together. I got a 325 horse. So that's out of a 03 Dodge. That one's out of a 05. I think it's an 05, but 4.5 to 7, 325 horse we're going to put together. This one is an ISB 6.7, so it's a rear gear train out of a school bus. Another 6.7 that we are working on the cylinder head still. A 12 valve that we have to put together. Yes, I definitely need a bigger shop. That is for sure. But this will have to do for now, because I don't want to move to a bigger shop until I buy an acreage. So, and that's not going to be for a couple years, until the kids are a little older. Well, kids are done high school. So I don't want to, I need a bigger shop, because as you can see, other than I do have lots of my own junk in here, and I shouldn't, the shop's full. The shop space isn't massive. The whole shop is 4,000 square feet. And then the office, which starts right here, obviously the stairs to go upstairs are right there. I think our actual shop space is 3,100. So the shop's not massive, but good enough for us for now. And if I didn't have so much of my own junk in here, we'd have more room, but I wouldn't be near as happy. So, any other questions? Hey, Jesse. This is the engine that we are I'm actually probably going to do, because I've never done it before for you guys. I have done it, but I have never done one for you guys. I think I'm going to take this engine, which originally was one I bought just to sell. This was the engine I'm going to put into that, so that we can just run whatever through it. And it's going to be basically a stock. It'll be a stock engine. Yeah, it is. It is some by times an interesting job. Let's put it that way. There is good and bad sides to it. Trust me on that one. But I think that's no different than anything else. I do enjoy the work for the most part. It's just that it's in the last, let's say 10 years or so, it's got hard, because honestly, as funny as this is going to sound, the internet has kind of made things difficult. So the with the internet being the way that it is and the way you can search stuff, that's part of the reason I started this channel, is that you there's so much information. The problem is that you have to sift through the information and know what you're looking at. And that drives me bonkers by times, because you get people that are putting out information that's useless and they don't know what they're talking about, and people think they know what they're talking about, so that's what they do. So then you end up with problems. So that's part of the reason I started the channel, because I got sick of watching that. So hopefully this will help everybody, help anybody that's watching, that type of stuff, and will obviously help me too, because it keeps me motivated. And then obviously if it turns into a financial benefit at this point, definitely not for the amount of hours that I put into it, but that's not the reason I'm doing it at this point. um, Hopefully that we'll be able to do some cooler stuff, because I would like to be able to. The position that I'm in is that I don't really have to do this anymore if I don't really want to. So I do it because I enjoy doing it. When I get to the point where I don't enjoy doing it, I'm hoping that another avenue has opened up so that I can continue to do it, but not do it in the same, day to day with regular customers all the time. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it can be fun, but not always. But I think, like I said, I think that's just the way it is. It is what it is. But that's why this engine is the one that I wanted to put into this thing, right? But I think what I'm going to do, I wasn't going to do this to start with. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this thing apart, and we're going to do a backyard, what I call backyard rebuild on it. So I'm going to pull it completely apart, and we're going to check everything. Obviously, if a bunch of stuff's out of spec, I'm not going to use it, because if you're going to use this as a backyard rebuild, you got to make sure that it's at least good enough to do the backyard rebuild, right? Because I don't want to see you guys doing it and then having nothing better than what they started with. It doesn't make sense to me. So as long as this is good enough to do that, we will do that. I'm going to do a backyard rebuild on this. It will go into this truck, and then we will run this on pretty much every piece, every liquid that is flammable to run, and see how it works in that. That's the idea anyways. So, stay tuned for that. That actually probably, because I am working on I've had a couple guys ask, but I am working on the courses for rebuilding for you guys that are interested in that. But it's a lot more work than I first anticipated, because I want to have all of the information. I don't have to redo them, so all of the information in. And I think this engine might actually be part of a section for the guys that want to do a home rebuild, as cheap as possible. Kind of not as cheap as possible, maybe not the right word, but to do it cheaper than doing everything rebuilt. Because I realize that it's one of those things. If you're working out of your garage, doing an engine build, not everybody can afford to next door neighbor's car's going off. Not everybody can afford to do everything. So I just wanted to point that out, but show you what to look for, what can go, not what can and can't pass, I guess you would say. So one of those things. Hopefully I haven't. When I have the only problem with having the camera switched around, I can't see or flipped around. I can't see the comments. Oh, actually, maybe I do. All right. Guess I don't have to turn it around. But if I miss any comments, either re-comment again, or I will check the comments afterwards. I don't know how long I'm going to go with this. It was just, like I said, it was kind of spur of the moment. I thought I didn't have anything done. Is there anything you guys want to see? Anything you've seen in the shop that I haven't showed? I can't really wander outside too far, because when I was out by the International earlier, it didn't like that. So I think it needs to be attached to the Wi-Fi for it to work properly. So if I wander out there, it dies on me. So I can't really wander outside too far. But yeah, well, I think I showed you guys these, or if I at least a picture of them. You've seen Moltar is offering a complete 12-valve engine. I did not know that. Was it like a repower or something? I think it was Jesse that said that. I don't know how do we, I don't know. I can't go back to see it. I did not know that if they are doing a repower setup. That's something I'll have to look at. $11,000. The only problem with it would be is the quality of the parts. That would be the only question that I have. I would imagine that likely it's all Chinese stuff. Not that there's really anything wrong with Chinese stuff, but if the quality of the pistons and bearings and if the crankshaft is soft, because that is one thing that I had. It was actually in a 4BT that we rebuilt. I rebuilt quite a few of them, but I had problems with crankshafts, and the crankshafts weren't hard enough, so they'd eat themselves. And that wasn't high horsepower stuff. That was, I don't know, like 100 horsepower, 4BT, so nothing crazy. But I don't know. That I will look into it though. I'm curious. Now I didn't realize that. But 11 grand, I guess that would be US dollars probably. 11 grand would be what, Canadian, like 18,000 probably, some ridiculous number. But yeah, that I will look into that because that's something that was it Mopar that was that Mopar or Cummins, because that's, I wonder. Let's just look at it here quick. Repower outcomes. Oops, I can't spell. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'll have to look into it. I'm curious now. Now that I've heard about it, I'm curious. I'll check into it. I just thought if I Google it, maybe it would come up. But if you have, let me know if you have a part number or something for it. I'm just curious. I've never seen them. So, but like I said, I'd be curious on what the quality of the parts are, because that is something I have run into with buying a repower, as they're called, or even a crate engine. A lot of the Mopar crate engines, I dealt with those years and years ago, and we would basically take that brand new crate engine, completely rip it apart, fix all the problems, and then put it back together, and then they were decent engines. But that was something that we did run into. Something else, I don't know if you guys are interested or not, is Luke and I, at some point, because I already have 800,000 things to be doing, we are going to rebuild this LS on the channel as well. I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in or not, but I'm probably going to do a rebuild course on that as well. Just started selling them. Sweet, there's the part number right there. I will. I'll Google that later, and maybe I'll do a video on it, find out a little bit about it, because I'm curious on that. But that was a Dodge part number, so that's kind of cool. But I wonder if that's a complete engine or not. But like, turbo, everything, like, every nut and bolt kind of thing, because that's actually something curious. I'd be curious. I definitely don't do much Toyota stuff. What's on the Chinese that has a common? Oh, that's the 12 valve common rail stuff. That is a European engine. I actually have dealt a little bit with that years ago when I was working on generators and stuff. They're not a horrible engine, but geez, man, you want to sit down when you got injection problems, because the injectors are super expensive. The injectors are super expensive. The CP3 is super expensive. I don't know if you can crack the ECM on them. As far as using them in the States, EPA wise, I don't know. I guess if you put them in an older truck, it wouldn't matter, but that would be something that I'd be curious about. I don't know how that would work because they are off-road use only. So yeah, I don't know. I have worked on a couple of them, but never in depth in them. But it's basically a 12 valve with common rail stuff on top of it. They're really not. I personally, for what they are, like the injectors, I know now this was quite a few years ago when they were relatively new. I did in a generator 6 injectors and a CP3, and it was like $19,000. So I'd imagine they probably come down in price a bit since then. But that was just for 6 injectors in the CP3. So yeah, so kind of expensive. So I don't know on that one, but But definitely something I will look into as far as that repower, because I'm curious. Now I'm curious because they are starting to get hard to get, hard to find, I should say, especially for guys that don't want to make a bunch of power with them. You can buy a brand new engine. That's a reasonable price. I believe that's a reasonable price as long as they're well built. Because you get into like this and this head here. Yeah, see you later, man. Chris, I think it was. Um, this head is a Chinese head, and this is off of a Cummins from Cummins. So that tells you, Chinese wise, right? So it doesn't really matter whether it's a Cummins product or not. Pretty good chance that all the newer ones are probably going to have, like all the remanned new ones will. The 8.3 Cummins. I actually don't mind the 8.3s. The only problem is that if you turn them up too much, the liners start to walk in them. So for you guys that aren't familiar, I don't know if I have a liner here or not. For you guys that aren't familiar, I think I threw that one away that I had sitting here. Don't mind all the junk I got laying around. So those engines aren't wet sleeves, or are wet sleeves. So these are parent bore blocks. This is a 6.7 block. That's a parent bore block. And then the wet sleeve, it's actually a sleeve with O-rings on it, and then you slide it down inside there. The problem with them is that if the crush isn't there, hold on, let's go to the whiteboard. We got the whiteboard. So the problem with them, for you guys that don't know, I'm sure most of you guys probably already know this, but maybe not all of you. They'll have usually, this will be the sleeve. Don't mind my bad drawing. It's hard because I have to stand away from it and look at the camera. The O-rings down here usually, an O-ring, and then it'll seal up here, or it will seal down here on a ridge, and then you put shims here or shims here. The problem is that at a certain horsepower level, you can't keep these stable. That's the reason a high horsepower stuff, I shouldn't say that. That's the reason that the standard stuff, usually this sleeve will start to walk around. Now, if you're building the engine to make a bunch of power, yes, you can make an 8.3 work pretty well. But they do like to break crankshafts. Their connector rods are not as strong, so that's also a problem. But I have monkeyed with some. I have blown a few up. So unless the engine has been, reworked as far as that goes, to run more power, usually try to keep it pretty tame, because I've exited stage left a few times with rods. So, when you do that, usually even doesn't matter how many times you tell the guy, hey man, it's probably gonna blow up. When it blows up, apparently you're the asshole. I don't know. It is what it is. So yeah, one of those things. Any other questions from you guys? Like I said, I don't know if there's anything else that I can think of. Oh, there's the diesel fuel I was looking for. Yeah. Oh, I was going to show you the new. I think I showed a picture of these, but I don't know if I actually showed them on here or not. Just flip this around again. This live thing is not too hard, but not the easiest thing in the world. I'm going to throw you up on the tripod just quick here. I actually haven't even set these up against the truck yet. Guess I should have maybe done it outside, but let's see what that looks like. I will do a 4BT, Keith. Actually, I probably will be doing a collab with a guy here in Calgary at some point. But I do have a couple of them. That actually don't look too bad. The old international tow rig. I will get to that in a minute, Aaron. For you guys that wanted, I guess I don't have. I do actually have a couple 4BTs. There's actually 2 blocks up there. some heads. I got a couple heads here actually that are mine, and then a complete P-pump one then in the truck. As far as the international goes, for you guys that are interested, let me see. I'm gonna do it on budget, on a budget. Now, I probably already burnt the budget, to be totally honest, because originally I was talking to you guys, and I was going to do, the MV 5600, and I was talking to a friend of mine who I've known for many, many, many years, and he said something to me that made perfect sense. I dropped the brush on the floor. He made perfect sense when he said this to me, that you really should do it the way that you want to start with, because otherwise you're not going to want to drive the truck. And he was 100% right, because I've done that a couple times, built the truck, and then I'm not interested in driving it because I don't like the way it drives. So what I have planned on doing now is, I don't know whether I should be in front of the camera or behind the camera. It's an awkward thing. So talking about the international tow rig. So for you guys that haven't heard yet, I bought a bus. I don't know, I guess I can't probably show a picture of it somehow, but I bought a bus for the axles out of the bus. So the axles out of the bus, the bus is a 2002 Bluebird and has, I think, like 310,000 kilometers on it, whatever that is miles, I don't know, 2 something. I'm going to use the axles out of that, or the front axle, the rear differential, the hydro boost, the power steering box, probably some other goodies. I would imagine I'll find some other stuff that I want out of it. And then the rest of it, I'm either going to sell or scrap. But it was a reasonable price, cheaper than I could buy just the front and rear axle. And this one, the last time it was safe to use, 2018, and it's a school bus. It never worked that hard in its life. So, and it would have been relatively maintained here in Alberta, Canada. They have to be safetied every year to go on the road. So we have the axles from that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the frame from that truck, and I will, Mark, I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the international. Sorry, I got off track. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use a frame from that truck or from the bus. I think I'm going to use from that truck because the frame looks straight. Everything I think will be okay. But we have to figure out, I want to make the truck relatively low, and I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that yet. So we got to figure that out. We'll see what I have to do. I'm not just 100% sure what we're going to have to do just yet. Probably the engine's definitely going to go higher in the truck, and I'm probably going to have to C-notch the front and the rear to get the truck as low as I want. I'm just not sure how low I can go in the front, because that's going to be our limiting factor for height, because I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel as much as I seem to do that type of stuff. I don't know. But we're going to use a 12 valve to start with. So like I was saying, I want to do it on a budget. I'm hoping to do it on like a $15,000 budget. Now, that'll probably be $15,000 Canadian, which would be obviously a little bit less US, but we'll just say in US dollars per se. But we will, we're going to do 12 valve. I'm going to use an intercooler and rad out of a 6-liter Ford truck. And the transmission, I was going to do the MV 5600, but I decided I'm going to sell that. And I have an Allison 1000 from a Duramax, and I'm going to use the Allison 1000 in the truck and buy the conversion kit from Allison Cummins Conversion. I've already actually talked to them about it, and they're on board to help us out a little bit with that. So that's kind of cool. And then it's going to get 22.5s, which I actually have one of them laying right there, but they got to be cut and polished and all that type of stuff. I don't know, Mark, I'm not sure about the MV 4500 behind the DT 360. I would imagine you can make one, but there's a lot of options for transmissions. If you're going to use that transmission, I would probably just use a different transmission, to be totally honest. I'm not a huge fan of the MV4500 because I broke like 50 of them. Maybe not 50, probably 20 though. Not a huge fan of them. Unless you're looking for something that'll shift faster, I think there's probably better options for transmissions. Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I would probably, there's definitely better options as far as I'm concerned anyway, up to you guys. Now, I don't know if, as far as the international goes, I'm not going to do much of the interior. We're going to reupholster the seat, get a new windshield, obviously wiring and all that type of stuff. And then it will be bagged front and rear. So it's going to be not four linked per se, might be four linked, but it'll be linked front and rear on air front and rear hydraulic disc brakes. And I'm not sure if we're going to cut it down, put automotive tires on it, or if we're going to keep a heavy duty tire. That I'm not just 100% sure. I'd like an automotive tire, but I like the weight rating of the heavy duty truck. So we'll see. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to get after on there yet, but that will be to come, because obviously I need to get the shorty done before I start working on that. Even though I really want to work on that, I need to get the shorty done, because otherwise it won't get done and the other truck won't be done. I'll have nothing done. And I need to do work on the race truck. So in the next while, I'm hoping that the shorty will be done probably, I don't know. I would like it to be done tomorrow, but obviously that's not going to happen. Probably in another month or something, I'll have all the body parts back, and then it'll realistically probably take me another month before I can get the rest of the truck. Basically, at that point, it's just assembly. I don't really need to design anything or do anything other than the four-wheel drive setup, which we'll talk about later, because I'm not putting a shifter in the floor. It's going to be air powered. Other than that, now enough about that. I will talk a little bit about the centrifuge. Mark was asking about the centrifuge. I will talk a little bit about the centrifuge. Oh, you know what? I actually have the little one. I have the little one right here. So I bought two of these years ago, and one of them I used to use. Let's get, I'll switch you guys around here. So, as I'm trying to drop my phone on the floor here. So for you guys have never, I don't know, I don't think these guys actually have these little ones anymore. I bought this one quite a few years ago. I have two of these. This is one of the one, I use the one that you guys have seen in my garage for cleaning biodiesel, black diesel. I used thousands of gallons through it, and I never had an issue. The reason I bought two was because I was actually going to put one on my truck to clean the engine oil on my truck instead of a bypass oil filter. But I've used these bypass oil filters quite a few times. And they're not bad. The part that sucks about these things is that you have to change the filter, right? With these, you don't have to. So this is the actual centrifuge unit, right? And what it does, I guess I should have maybe explained a little bit. So the oil comes in here, comes out this little hole, which in turn fills this cavity, right? And then there's little holes here, which makes it spin. But you do have to have quite a bit of pressure to make this work. So inside here, it's not really rocket science. Basically, this cavity just fills up with crud, right? And then, if it gets too full, obviously it's not going to work. But now the other one that I bought, which is and this is just a diffuser plate, so it keeps the oil has to come down. It has to fill this cavity and come around before it can come into these holes, before it can go into here. So actually very simple setup, but complicated at the same time. Now, something else that I did want to mention is that, where is it? There's one. There's actually on these things, they're actually balanced because they spin so fast. And make sure you get that lined up. The bigger ones are the same way. Now the one that I bought, the WVO designs, it's a constant run centrifuge, so it actually runs off of an electric motor to turn the turbine, or to turn the centrifuge. Completely different design than this. But these are relatively cheap. You can set one of these up. I am going to set up one of these, actually the other one on the cheap for you guys. So if you wanted to buy one of these, and you can be able to, I think likely I'm going to try running it off a corded drill and a Chevy oil pump. I think is what we're going to try. Because I realize there again that not everybody is going to throw a boatload of money at this stuff, or nor have a boatload of money to throw at this stuff. I understand that. And sometimes I realize that I kind of get carried away sometimes because I'm like that. For you guys that don't know, I am kind of like, I tend to go overboard in point in case. I tend to maybe overdo it sometimes. So, and I'm fortunate enough to be in the position where I can throw a little bit of money at stuff. But I realize not everybody is in that position. So if you're not in that position, kind of makes it difficult. You know, I'm showing you, you know, something that is you know, a $2,000 product and you have $400 to spend. I realize that not everybody has that. So trying to keep that in mind because, you know, there again, I've been fortunate and am fortunate that I have the ability, the financial ability to be able to spend some of that money and do stuff that way. But that's part of the reason I wanted to bring this truck, back to running a stock engine, and then I can do a bunch of tuning on this truck, and we can kind of do a bit of a horsepower, a graduated horsepower setup with this truck again, because it's been years and years and years since this truck didn't make 500, 600, 700 horsepower. But obviously, there again, not everybody is in that position. So that's why I wanted to do, you know, if you were buying a truck at a blow by or something, we're going to take this engine, acting like that was the case, go through it and put it in this thing, make it like a 250. Nah, I don't know if I can do 250. Sorry, guys. Probably a 350 horse, 12 valve with a single turbo on it. I'm just going to put a different converter in it, a little tighter converter to start with. And so it won't be anything special. And I think this truck is going to graduate into my daily driver. I will drive it summer, winter, anytime I need to use it, go anywhere. That's what this truck will end up being, I think. Again, now it was for many years and then it kind of wasn't anymore. Now it's going to go back to that as, you know, we have this, I have the first gen, and then we also will have the international, which you can't see for the sun. But, you know, you can only have so many trucks and do so much stuff at one time. So I will touch back onto the centrifuge when I get the centrifuge, because I haven't got it yet. They were on back order, typical for the world we live in at the moment. I will do an unboxing when I get it, showing you guys how to use it, or how it's used, and then also when we set it up in the trailer. That actually is something. I'll go through it, how you use it, how I use it. We're going to do comparisons between using filters and using a little centrifuge versus a big centrifuge, a bunch of videos on that. But I do want to mix up a bunch of the videos doing, you know, working on trucks and doing some black diesel or alternative fuels. Not keep it all as one, because I realize some of you guys are not interested in alternative fuels. Some of you guys are. And for the guys that aren't interested in it, you know, like I want to show you guys stuff, and I want to be doing other stuff as well, not just one thing. So, but I bought these tanks from the auction, same auction I bought the bus from. So these tanks are going to go in there when we set that up. So it should be interesting. And we're probably also going to do some boiling. I'll leave it at that for now. And then I bought this tank as well, which won't work because it's too wide. So I'm actually going to clean this up and sell this tank because it's actually about this much too wide for where I wanted to put it. So that's not going to work. That's actually a fuel tank for a generator to sit on, is actually what it's for. That's these. And then you can lift it up and stuff. So it has a fuel gauge and all that stuff in it. Nice. It's actually a nice tank. It just won't work for what I wanted to. And my own fault. I didn't measure it when I was at once in a while of, you know, when I'm working on something. Might not be able to monetize it because I tend to curse and swear. But nonetheless, I don't. Now, I don't make that much money off the videos as it stands now anyway, so it's not the end of the world if I have a couple of videos that aren't monetized. And then I can do, I don't know, different stuff if you guys are interested in the live side of things. Completely up to you. Yeah. But I think what I'm going to do, we've been on for like 40 minutes now. What I'll do, let me know, comment down below if you're watching this later. Comment down below if you guys are interested in me doing lives. Comment what days, what times, because I just did Friday because I didn't have any, I didn't know when else to do it. So let me know, and I guess we'll catch you on the next one.